Travis Scott didn't just build a career in music, he built a machine, a billion-dollar cultural machine powered by stadium tours, viral marketing, sneaker drops, and one of the most loyal fan bases in hip-hop. For years, Travis Scott looked unstoppable. His concerts sold out in minutes, brands lined up to work with him, and every album release felt like a major cultural event. But when an empire is built on hype, spectacle, and chaos, the line between success and disaster can become dangerously thin. And over the last few years, the Travis Scott brand has gone from one of the most powerful forces in music to one of the most controversial. Because behind the flashing lights, sold-out arenas, and endless headlines, there's a darker story about how fast success can spiral out of control. Before the stadium tours and global fame, Travis Scott was just another artist trying to break into the industry. Born Jock Webster in Houston, Texas, he spent years experimenting with music and trying to get his sound noticed. The early days were far from glamorous. His first projects barely gained attention, and like thousands of other aspiring rappers, he struggled to find his place in an industry already crowded with talent. But Travis had something that set him apart. His production style was loud, aggressive, and atmospheric, blending hip-hop with psychedelic sounds that felt different from what most artists were doing at the time. Eventually, that sound caught the attention of major players in the industry, including Kanye West, who recognized Travis's potential early on. Once Travis began working with established artists and producers, his career started moving faster. He signed deals, collaborated with bigger names, and slowly built a reputation as one of the most exciting new voices in hip-hop. His early albums started gaining traction with fans, but the real turning point came in 2018 with the release of Astroworld. The album wasn't just successful, it was a cultural explosion. Songs dominated streaming platforms. The Astroworld tour became one of the most talked about events in music, and Travis Scott suddenly became one of the biggest artists on the planet. But music was only part of the story. Travis Scott understood something many artists didn't. In the modern entertainment world, music alone isn't enough. You have to build a brand, and Travis built one of the most powerful brands in hip-hop. He partnered with Nike to release limited edition sneakers that sold out almost instantly. Resale prices skyrocketed. Fans treated each sneaker drop like a major event. Then came one of the most unusual collaborations in modern marketing. Travis Scott partnered with McDonald's. A fast food meal tied to a rapper might sound strange, but the promotion went viral almost overnight. Restaurants reported selling out of ingredients, and the campaign generated millions of dollars, while keeping Travis Scott's name everywhere online. By the end of that period, Travis Scott wasn't just a musician. He was a business empire. Tours, merchandise, fashion collaborations, gaming events, and brand deals all feeding into a machine that seemed unstoppable. But there was always one element of the Travis Scott brand that stood out more than anything else: his concerts. Travis built a reputation for chaotic, high-energy performances where fans were encouraged to lose control, rush the stage, and create an atmosphere that felt more like a riot than a traditional concert. For years, that chaos became part of his image. Fans called it raging, and Travis Scott was the leader of it. But what happens when chaos stops being entertainment and starts becoming dangerous? That question became impossible to ignore in November of 2021 at the Astroworld Festival in Houston. The event was supposed to be a celebration. Tens of thousands of fans packed into the festival grounds to watch one of the biggest artists in the world perform in his hometown. But as the crowd grew larger and more intense, things began to spiral out of control. Fans pushed toward the stage, security struggled to manage the pressure, and the environment inside the crowd quickly turned dangerous. By the end of the night, multiple people had lost their lives, and hundreds more were injured. What was meant to be a celebration of Travis Scott's success had turned into one of the most tragic events in modern concert history. The aftermath was immediate and brutal. News outlets around the world covered the tragedy. Videos from the concert spread across social media. Critics began asking difficult questions about crowd control, safety planning, and whether Travis Scott's concert culture had contributed to the disaster. Lawsuits followed, investigations followed, and suddenly, the unstoppable Travis Scott brand looked far more fragile than anyone expected. Major companies that had once eagerly partnered with Travis Scott began distancing themselves. Planned collaborations were quietly canceled, events were postponed, public appearances became rare. For the first time in years, Travis Scott wasn't dominating headlines for music releases or viral marketing campaigns. He was dominating them for something much darker, and the internet reaction was relentless. Some fans defended him, arguing that the tragedy wasn't entirely under his control. Others believed the culture surrounding Travis Scott's concerts had encouraged dangerous behavior for years. Social media debates exploded. Comment sections filled with arguments about responsibility, safety, and the cost of turning live performances into chaotic spectacles for an artist whose brand relied heavily on fan energy and viral moments. The shift in public perception was devastating. Travis Scott eventually returned to music. New projects were announced, and fans once again began showing up to support him. But the atmosphere surrounding his career had changed. Every new headline about Travis Scott carried the shadow of what happened at Astroworld. Every public appearance was analyzed more carefully, and every move he made faced far more scrutiny than before. The truth is that Travis Scott's story reflects something bigger about modern celebrity culture. The same internet that can turn an artist into a global superstar overnight can also turn against them just as quickly. Fame moves faster than ever, and when controversies happen, the fallout spreads across the world in seconds. Travis Scott spent years building an empire fueled by spectacle, hype, and chaos. But once that chaos crossed a line, the consequences became impossible to ignore. Today, Travis Scott remains one of the most recognizable names in music. His fan base is still massive, his influence is still powerful, and his career is far from over. But the story of Travis Scott is no longer just about success. It's about what happens when fame grows too fast, when spectacle becomes expectation, and when an empire built on energy and hype suddenly collides with reality. Whether Travis Scott will fully recover his reputation, or whether his legacy will always be tied to the controversies surrounding his concerts, is a question that only time will answer. But one thing is certain, the Travis Scott story is no longer just about the rise of a superstar. It's about how quickly the spotlight can turn from celebration to scrutiny when everything starts to fall apart.